Hello everyone, I'm Mina Man. Welcome to Higher Ground. Today we have an exclusive interview with Stockwell Day, Canada's former Leader of the Opposition and International Trade Minister. He's now a senior advisor and board member for Pacific Future Energy, a new $10 billion state-of-the-art oil refinery proposed for Northwest B.C. Pacific Future Energy promises to be the greenest refinery in the world, achieving near net zero carbon emissions by deploying various technologies from renewable energy to carbon capture systems. Protecting BC's west coast from oil tanker spills is Pacific Future Energy's biggest selling point, as crude oil would first be refined into diesel and gasoline before it's loaded onto ships destined for markets overseas. Joining us today from our downtown Vancouver studio is Stockwell Day. Thanks for coming on the show. Top line, what's the oil refinery project all about?
What this refinery will do is take what's known as crude oil, which has lots of bitumen in it, and it refines out the bitumen, turns the product into things like diesel and propane, ships it to Asia, creates all kinds of jobs here at home, engages the First Nations community in a powerful way, and is easy on the environment because the refinery itself is going to be a zero emission or near zero emission refinery, the most green in the world.
Stock, that's a lot of promises. Can they all be met?
Well, here's what we're going to do. The refinery will be powered by, first of all, natural gas, so it's not being powered by oil as many are. And then we're going to take the natural gas, and from that there's emissions. You capture those carbon emissions, and the process we're going to use at that point actually makes energy out of those carbon emissions. And then you take available what we call biomass, which is the excess of agriculture products, forestry products. You also turn that into energy, and you wind up having a refinery that is either close to zero, or in fact we think we can achieve zero emissions. It's unique in the world.
Wow, what are environmentalists saying about these plans?
Environmentalists like the fact that there's going to be no bitumen on the water. They like that. And think about it this way too, this product being refined here in one of the most green processes that's ever been developed means it won't be refined in Asia, where it may not get that same level of treatment.
How big of an issue are oil tankers?
Many projects talk about putting bitumen on the water. I can tell you our First Nations are very concerned about that. People who fish for a living are very concerned. And those of us who simply love the environment are concerned of what might happen if there was ever a disaster with a tanker full of bitumen.
So is the idea behind this project, hey, if you don't like pipelines, like us instead?
People who are concerned about where that product is going to go at the end of the pipeline are very supportive of this type of project.
But you still need pipelines, don't you?
Well, you're going to need pipelines, but this can also be done with some of the advancements in rail, and there is available capacity on certain rail lines coming out of Alberta. So you can do one or the other, as long as the safety and the efficiencies are built in there. This refinery could be served either through oil coming in on rail or via pipeline.
So I'm assuming the Tidewater access supports the economic argument for the refinery.
Exactly. We've proven the economic case. We look at the transport costs. We look at we've broken out, when you take a barrel of that oil and you break it down into the refined parts like diesel and propane, for instance, and what those prices will sell for in Asia, you can see that the margins are there. What we call the profit margin is there. It makes a sound economic case for that to be done here, and just as importantly, jobs created here in the process of building the refinery, but also in running it and then marketing those fuels.
Well, how many jobs are we talking about, and what's the economic impact?
We're talking about a project's going to be about $9.5 billion to build. The building and the construction and putting together a refinery like this, the jobs are in the low thousands, and we have met with labor groups who are very excited and supportive of this project.
Stock, have First Nations been supportive?
This project has been very different in the eyes of many First Nations leaders. People like Sean Atleo, who used to be the chief of the First Nations of Canada. People like Ovid Mercredi, who also used to be the chief of the chiefs. Chiefs like Robert Louis in the Okanagan. They have all joined either through the advisory council or on the board itself because they see that right from the start we have been serious about engaging Indigenous peoples and really making them full partners in this project. Because of that, we've got wide acceptance from the First Nations community. It's not perfect everywhere. You've still got to work hard to convince and to get their trust. But many of these key First Nations leaders are telling us this project is like none other in terms of how we've consulted and worked with First Nations.
And that's it for Higher Ground this week. Make sure to visit our website at resourceworks.com, sign up for our e-newsletter, and don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For ResourceWorks, I'm Mina Mann. Thanks for watching.